my friends, it's your brother Hampton. It is Thanksgiving weekend here in the United States, and I want to make a video about gratitude. This is something that happens to coincide with Thanksgiving weekend, but it's something I've been meaning to talk about for a while, and it's something that I might include in my book. But I also want to talk about something else that will be relevant to today's discussion, and that is, honestly, today really wasn't the best day for me, right? I was calling some company on the phone and I feel like they were being difficult and they changed my files around just willy-nilly, it feels like. And this is something that I've been dealing with for months and months and months. And someone went in, I don't know who, just changed everything on the back end. And as a result, it's made my life a little bit more costly and expensive at a time to where I'd really rather it not. But at the same time, some people might hear this and they might think, well, Hampton, like, is this going to kill you? Is it going to end your business? I said, well, no, probably not. And it's like, well, then like, what about all the things you have? You have a wonderful family, some of which is visiting if you hear noises. You have a job that you love and you enjoy. You have people around you that you love and enjoy. So what are you griping about on the phone with? So like, we've all kind of heard this idea. You might be upset, but think about the things that you could be grateful for instead of complaining about the things that you don't. This sometimes leads gratitude to be moved to the side. Kind of like a lot of things I talk about here. So there's like communication, introspection, empathy, forgiveness, honesty. I feel like these things, there's valid criticisms and when not to use them, I feel, but there's also good ways to use them. I feel like gratitude is similar to this. And I think today just felt like something, for many reasons, it felt like something I wanted to talk about. Because while I do feel grateful for these things, and even now saying this out loud, I feel a little bit guilty that I have anything to complain about because my gosh, like, as some of you may have heard, it's like, well, why are you complaining about that you spilled your drink in your car, in your new car, when there are literally kids around the world who are under the age of 10 and they're worried about getting enough water and food. So we've kind of heard from our parents, from teachers, we've all kind of heard this, right? And some people, maybe not all, may have felt a little bit bittered by it, right? Like, well, there's something that doesn't necessarily feel the best about that. I want to kind of dive into how I interpret balancing gratitude while still feeling sympathy for others and kind of relating to yourself for the problems you're facing now. Because ultimately I do use gratitude long-term in a broader perspective, right? To realize that I do try to remind myself that I'm very blessed, very, very blessed to have many of the things I do have. And a lot of other people miss them and I don't want to take them for granted. Right? I don't want to take them for granted. I want to be appreciative of them, less that I only miss them when they're gone, right? I want to be appreciative and thankful for them now. However, I feel like we can have that while still feeling things in the moment. So there's a couple of metaphors people use here. Like, you can drown in 300 feet of water, or you can drown in a single foot, 2 feet of water. Even less than you can drown in 3 inches of water, right? And I think our perspective, if you think of a camera lens, zooming in and zooming out, we can recognize we have a lot of things to be grateful for. But the thing that we're focusing on now, zooming in, however small it might be, feeling from some frustration and being upset at that isn't necessarily wrong, right? So this is why I probably will title this video, How to Feel Gratitude Without Gaslighting Yourself, because that's what some people feel like it is. And I think really this is different interpretations of it. So whatever you're feeling in the moment, if you feel, man, my friend canceled on me, this is the 3rd time in a row they did this, they don't do it to their other friends, they probably just don't value me, even though I'm always there when they break up with their other friends. I'm always there to talk with them, even though it's tired. You call me at 2, 3 a.m. sometimes, right? And I answered and I listen to you vent about your breakup. But when I call, you say you're busy. You say that you have plans or you're organizing your sock drawer, right? So see, that is a relatively small issue compared to not having enough food and water and shelter. But it's still an issue, right? I feel like we can recognize and be like, man, that's not good. And there's different ways we can process these emotions. Some people, they want to talk about it. Me, I'm really someone who likes to try to resolve it. I try to find some way to fix the thing that's causing the issue. But however you want to do it, I feel like you can give yourself time to think about how to resolve these things. And you sometimes just talking to a friend, talking to a sympathetic friend, talking it through, someone who can agree with you, maybe offer slight pushback when you're ready, right, on some of your points. It's like, well, like, like if you actually have dealt with someone in a breakup, sometimes like, yeah, that's terrible. That's like, they should not have done that. That was absolutely absolutely wrong. Like, it's like, I'm so surprised. And then they're like, well, I'm gonna do this. Like, well, hang on. You may not want to go over to their house right now, and you definitely don't want to do that. And if you do, certainly don't tell me about it, because I don't want to testify about it, right? So like, if you're to calm anyone down who's really upset, you can find someone who can do that for you, like offer you reasonable counsel, right, and console you without egging you on into doing something that you might regret. So that might be helpful, to find someone who can do that for you, or you can look and solve the issue. So if the issue is, man, if you're stressed, like I just haven't filled out these forms, maybe you can find someone to fill out those forms. And zooming out, of course, you're like, well, what's a missed dinner, right? What's a missed call, and what's like $20 fell out of my pocket today? What's that, compared to some of the problems people face in the world and some of the things that we can have. So what I do is, in the short term, I think about these problems, I try to resolve them, I talk them through, or try to solve them. In the long term, when I zoom out, the gratitude, that's when it helps me. When my brain resets, especially in the morning. I don't do a gratitude journal. I've never done that. I feel like I'm not against them necessarily. It's just not what I've done so far. I'm open to trying it at some point. I just try to remind myself that there's a family. I try to remind myself throughout the day of things that I can be grateful for. And that is more of a long-term thing, to where, especially in the morning, I'm like, that resets me and it sets the perspective for the rest of the day. It's like, I have all these things that I am thankful for, right? And I still have problems, right? And you may have problems. You might think, well, Hampton, you have things to be grateful for, but like the person watching this may feel like they don't. I understand that we all have different problems and different things we have, but personally, I just try to zoom out and be thankful for the things I have, however big or small they may be. And then for the rest of the day, I zoom in on different parts of this image, different parts of my life, right? And those things can make me very happy or very frustrated. But at the end of the day and at the start of the day, I try to zoom out and say, here are all the things that I'm thankful for. Here are all the things that I'm grateful that I have, including people listening on this channel. So this is my side channel, Coffee with Hampton. I'm filming this quite late at night, actually, because it's a little bit colder. So there's a couple things. I'm not filming my usual spot with my usual lighting at the usual time. And I'm actually wearing a jacket because it's quite a little bit chilly outside. And I don't necessarily mind the coldness on my body. But when it gets too cold, even if I feel fine, my mouth starts to freeze up a little bit, and then I start to slur my words a little bit. There are a few videos on Hypercalcinic channel, but where I've done that. But I'm thankful that I can come out and just talk to the camera like this, which is actually, I feel a little better. I feel a little better talking to the camera like this. That I can do this, and some people will watch and they'll listen, and I'm thankful that some people will say that it actually helped them, because I'm really grateful for that. I'm really glad this can, if it can help anybody, but I wanted to share those thoughts. So sympathy, trying to vent, trying to resolve an issue in the short term. In the long term, the things that stop those things from building up, right? The things that stop me from like building, I guess, long-term resentfulness and bitterness towards whatever, even if you can justify it. One of the things that stops that from building up is long-term gratitude. In short term, I try to think about the problems and try to resolve them. Long term, those problems just don't seem as bad the next day, right? They don't seem that bad a week later, right? Now, there's something that persists that might need something that needs to be solved. That might be like, well, this is not an issue that's going away. This is something I need to solve. And there's many times in life we need to pivot. But long-term gratitude, being thankful for the blessings that I actually have, is what keeps those things from building up and keeps my life overall happy. So when I am happy and I'm in not a mindset of fear, afraid, and trying to hoard the things I have, then I can think about how to give, how to help others. And that really is an enjoyable mindset for me, to where I can talk with others, think about how I can help them, and life just seems a lot more beautiful that way for me. I hope that can help. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, my friend.